Star Wars The Last Jedi may be dominating the worldwide box office in theaters right now, but according to a lot of viewers who've seen it, they're divided. There are a lot of people who love it. All the critics, I mean, I think almost all the critics love it, but there are a lot of fans who kind of are like, I didn't like some things about it, and they've been very vocal about it. A lot of negative articles about the movie and negative tweets and things on social media getting a lot of traction. And the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is a lot lower than the critic score, which is weird. Usually it's the other way around. So, of course, Disney and, Lucasfilm has seen all that and they're making comments. And Rian Johnson, the director, is addressing the fan backlash. And I gathered some articles to read for you and to talk about it here. And I'm going to go over some of his comments. This one's on Yahoo News. I think they're paraphrasing or taking snippets from what he said to this other website, like, what is it called? Business Insider. But that's a really long Q&A, and this video, I don't want this video to be an hour, so I'm going to go to the article that just takes snippets. But here's what Rian Johnson said. Rian Johnson has made one of the most critically acclaimed Star Wars entries to date with The Last Jedi, but it's receiving a more polarizing reaction among certain sections of the Star Wars fandom. Many outlets have pointed to the worrisome Rotten Tomatoes user score, which is currently at 55%. This article is a couple of days old, so that number is different right now. After over 115,000 reviews, there are complaints that the movie has too many jokes, basically, and that a lot of the plot points just don't work with Star Wars. And I made one plot point I don't like is the mistreatment of Luke Skywalker, which I made a video about. I'll put a link or a card to it. They did Luke wrong, in my opinion. And Mark Hamill talks about that. Later on in the video, I'll get to Mark Hamill. But now on to Rian Johnson. Johnson, according to this, or what Johnson said to the media anyway, he's taking all the backlash in stride. Here's what he said. I'm aware through my own experience that, first of all, the fans are so passionate. They care so deeply. Sometimes they care very violently at me on Twitter. But it's because they care about these things. And it hurts when you're expecting something specific and you don't get it from something that you love. It always hurts. So I don't take it personally if a fan reacts negatively and lashes out on me on Twitter. That's fine. It's my job to be there for that. He references George Lucas, the guy who originated Star Wars and was responsible in the first three, the original ones that came out in the 70s and early 80s. George Lucas never made a Star Wars movie by sitting down and thinking, what do fans want to see? I knew if I wrote wondering what the fans would want, as tempting as that is, it wouldn't work because people would still be shouting at me. F you ruined Star Wars, and I would make a bad movie. And ultimately, that's the one thing nobody wants. And now Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker, who was mistreated, he also gave his thoughts. He originally said he didn't like what Rian Johnson had come up with. Rian Johnson wrote and directed the movie. He said, I at one point had to say to Rian, I pretty much fundamentally disagree with every choice you've made for this character. Now, having said that, I have gotten it off my chest, and my job now is to take what you've created and do my best to realize your vision. And then Lucasfilm or Disney or whatever got mad at him, and I think he was forced to kind of backtrack or walk that back. He revised his statement saying, actually what I really meant to say is, I was surprised at what he came up with the character, etc., etc., but I think he just did that because people got mad at him, his bosses. And now, a Disney executive has given in an article, interview, said they've addressed the controversy and the discussions that it's causing among the fan community. So let's look at it. Rian Johnson, the cast, and the Lucasfilm team have delivered an experience that is totally Star Wars, yet at the same time fresh, unexpected, and new. That makes this a Star Wars film like audiences have never seen. It's got people talking, puzzling over its mysteries, and it's a lot to take in, and we see that as all positive. That should help set the film up for great word of mouth and repeat viewing as we enter the lucrative holiday period. Now, this executive could actually mean that, or this could just be a statement to just, put up a front. Because, no movie executive, I think, is going to admit, oh, yeah, the fan backlash is not what we expected, and we're worried or whatever. Well, they might not be worried. I mean, this movie's making a ton of money. But, the long term, like the next Star Wars movie or after that, that's when this could take effect, or like the second week drop off. I don't know what that's going to be. But anyways, this in my opinion seems like a carefully worded like PR statement. Like, of course this person's going to say this, because they aren't going to admit that if they're unhappy with the fan response or if it worries them. There were a lot of things that a lot of longtime Star Wars fans or classic Star Wars fans didn't agree with. And those aren't the same as a lot of what casual Star Wars fans like. People who aren't really as attached to Star Wars, they might not have noticed or cared about this because they don't have the same kind of feeling about it as the diehard Star Wars fan. A lot of diehard Star Wars fans. I'm not saying every diehard Star Wars fan was unhappy with this movie, but there's a vocal contingent online. So anyway, there's the reaction, the public, reaction statements to it. We've heard from Rian Johnson, the writer-director of Star Wars The Last Jedi, Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker, I feel the character who was most disrespected by this movie, and a Disney executive who had to give like a PR statement to address the backlash that's being experienced. Now, does any of this matter? I mean, maybe not. I mean, Star Wars The Last Jedi is probably still going to make $1 billion like Star Wars movies always do these days. We'll have to see what the second week drop-off is, but even if the second week drop-off is steep, there are other factors that could play into that don't have anything to do with people being unhappy with the movie. And I might make a video to address that. And of course, the next Star Wars, Episode 9 and 10 and 11, those are going to make a truckload of money too. So, we'll see how much Disney has to worry about this. If they're even worried at all, maybe they don't. But this reaction, I don't know if this may not have been what they were expecting, I wouldn't think. And I'm surprised that it's gotten this much traction. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with the backlash? Maybe you don't agree with it. And if you do agree or notice this backlash, do you think this could hurt the movie and Star Wars movies going forward? Maybe it won't. Star Wars is powerful. It's one of the most powerful brands in action movie entertainment. But anyways, thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to watch me make more videos about movies and TV shows and comic books and all that good stuff. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.